Hey, it's me. I'm just calling to say it's really not that deep.
Hi bestie, welcome back to the podcast. I had a week off last week because I was away visiting family, and honestly I thought I could juggle it all. I convinced myself I could travel, see everyone, go to a gig, squeeze in the podcast, keep my business moving, and no, absolutely not. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but I realised in this season of my life that I can't just wing it like that. And to be honest, throughout my business, I have spent time working abroad, visiting family, and it works amazing for me, but it has to be intentional. I have to go and have a proper planned work trip where I set my non-negotiables and I do my work. I can't just try and flex my whole routine around everyone else and think that it'll still work, because it doesn't. So that brings me on to today's episode, which is all about balance, because everyone always says you need to find balance, right? And I've spent so much of my life trying to do that, trying to do it all, trying to be that girl who has it perfectly together, and the truth is that every time I've gone down that route, I end up doing nothing properly. Nothing moves forward. The only times in my life where I've actually shifted things in business, in health, in literally anything have been where I've gone all in. And I don't mean grinding myself into the ground, because I'm the first person that says your mental health and your rest comes before everything. But I love my slow mornings, my steps, my swim, my gym, my Pilates. That's my baseline. But I've tried to force this balanced version of me. Oh, I can have this cake because I had something healthy earlier, or I'll scroll because I already did a little work. Where do you even draw the line? I would rather live disciplined most of the time, then choose where I relax, than try to do this 50-50 balancing act that honestly just doesn't work for me. And yeah, balance is definitely the long-term goal, but while you're building something, I think it's a lie. For me, it's seasons now. Growth seasons, rest seasons, maintenance seasons, and that's what we're going to get into today. Why balance isn't the vibe, why seasons are real, and how you can go all in without frying your nervous system. So let's actually just get into this whole thing of balance, because I feel like balance is one of those words people throw around like it's a solution to everything. You're stressed, you need more balance. Your business isn't working, you need more balance. Your health is off balance. It's a magic word. But what people usually mean when they say balance is give everything equal attention, equal slices of your energy pie. And that's where I'm like, no, that's not real life. Real life moves in cycles, energy shifts. Some weeks you feel magnetic and social and ready to take on the world, and other weeks you're slow, you want to nest, you want to be quieter. And that's not you failing, that's literally how we're wired. Hormones, seasons of business, seasons of life, it's all cyclical. I can give you a perfect example. I had a week recently where I thought, right, I'm going to be balanced. I was like, I'll touch a little bit of everything every day. I'll text the whole day, I'll do client work, I'll post on socials, I'll get a workout in, I'll clean the house, I'll make time for friends. And I was exhausted. I felt busy the whole time. Nothing actually moved forward. I'd done 12 different things at 20% energy. That's balance. Then if you compare it to the week where I said to myself, no, I'm in a build season right now, I literally let the house be a riot. I didn't answer every single message. I doubled down on work. I got my content scheduled. I got proper deep work done. And guess what? That week actually produced results, not because I was doing more hours, but because I was aligned with one clear season. And that's the difference. I feel like balance spreads you thin, and alignment lets you go deep. And this is where I'm at now. I don't want to have a balanced life. I want an aligned life. Balanced me tries to keep everyone happy. Balanced me says yes to everything because I'm scared of letting people down. Balanced me tries to hit every area at once so no one can judge me. And what happens? I end up resentful, overstimulated, and invisible to myself. Aligned me says, this is the season that I'm in, this is what gets my A energy, and everything else can get B minus for a while. And that feels so much calmer, even if it looks lopsided from the outside. The way that I see it is there are 4 main seasons that we move through. So when you're in build, you're all in, you're stacking the bricks, you're making the momentum, laying the foundations, and you're building something. And then there is maintain. So when the systems are rolling and you just keep them alive. So when you're just maintaining your life, You're not trying to do anything new. You're just maintaining it and getting into a routine. And then there's rest, which isn't a collapse, by the way. It's still anchored, but it's softer, it's regulated. And then there is a rebuild season, which I feel like probably I'm kind of in now. I'm kind of moving into the build, but rebuild is when you're coming back after a dip, you're course correcting, you are figuring out what went wrong, and then you're rebuilding so you can start to then properly build. And these don't happen equally every day. You cannot balance them into a 24-hour window. Sometimes your business needs you more, sometimes your health needs you more, sometimes your family needs you more. That is life. The biggest shift for me was realizing that balance doesn't have to mean that every single day looks perfect. Balance makes way more sense when you zoom out and look at your month, look at your quarter. If I hit my non-negotiables most days, my steps, my morning time to myself, my gym, my swim, eating well, and then I focus on the main season that I'm in for that month, it evens out, and that feels way more honest than trying to tick every box daily and burning myself out in the process. If you're a guy listening to this, then sorry, but for my girls who cycle with their period, you'll get this. I used to fight my energy and guilt myself for not being switched on all the time, and now I actually work with it. I know when I'm magnetic, and that's when I put out launches or creative stuff, and I know when my energy is a bit lower and I don't have the energy to create content, and that's where I plan, I do my admin, I let myself chill a little bit. It's not about balance, it's just about living in alignment with your body and respecting that your body has its seasons. So yeah, that is the raw truth. Balance looks pretty on Instagram, but alignment is what builds momentum. It's not about being fair to everything, it's about being loyal to the season that you're in, the person that you're becoming. And if you take anything from this episode, let it be this. Stop judging your life by the balance of a single day. One messy Tuesday doesn't define your entire month or your entire season. Zoom out. Give yourself permission to go all in where it matters. Let the rest be good enough and trust that over the month or the quarter, it's going to even out. And here's the thing, going all in doesn't mean chaos. And I think that that's where people get it twisted. When I say that I live in seasons and sometimes I go all in, it's not me running around stressed, dropping plates, burning out. That's not what I mean. I've done that before. But there's a difference between intentional imbalance and accidental just like chaos. Let me give you an example. When I decided to fully rebuild my agency, get this podcast going, I knew for a fact that other areas of my life were going to be like a B minus, okay? And I chose that on purpose. I literally said to myself, okay, this week the washing might pile up a bit or a lot. Maybe my social life's going to be quiet, or maybe I'm not going to cook like a gourmet dinner every night, and that's fine. I have a husband for that. But I'm not failing at those things. I'm choosing to put them at a B minus so that my A energy can go into the podcast and my business, and that's intentional imbalance. Now compare that to the weeks where I'm not being intentional and I slide into the accidental chaos. For me, it usually looks like people pleasing, saying yes to random favors, going to things that I don't even want to go to because I don't want to let someone down, or doom scrolling, or telling myself that I'll just have a little break on my phone and then an hour later I feel overstimulated and I've done nothing, or I overcommit and I think that I can do everything for everyone and I stretch myself so thin trying to be there for everyone, and then I end up feeling bad or resenting things. That's chaos. It's messy, and the worst part is you feel drained, you're pulled in 12 different directions and the outcomes couldn't be different. When it's accidental chaos, you end the week exhausted, nothing to show for it, but you feel like you've been so busy. But when it's an intentional imbalance, you end the week proud, even if your house is a mess, because the thing that actually matters moved. So how do you know which one that you're living in? For me, it comes down to trade-offs. With intentional balance, the trade-offs are clear. I literally say to myself, this week my rocks, or what I'm focusing on, are my podcast, my client strategy, and getting 4 workouts in, whatever it is. That's it. If those rocks get done, then that week's a win, okay? Everything else is just like pebbles, sand, dust, whatever. It's nice to have, but it's not required. And I want you to think about this too. What are your 3 things, your 3 rocks this week? You don't need to have 12. You don't need to have a never-ending to-do list, just 3. Because here's the thing, when you're clear on what those things are, you stop making yourself feel guilty about the little things, about the things that don't actually matter that week. Like, yeah, it would be nice if my wardrobe was color-coded right now, but it's not. It would be nice if I cooked a big fancy dinner every night, but I'm not. Those aren't my rocks this week. They don't get to drain me. That's the difference between chaos and alignment. Chaos is letting everything scream at you at the same volume. Alignment is saying, no, this is my season. These are my rocks. This is what actually counts. And the best part is that when you work like this, your nervous system calms down. You don't spend all week in a state of, I should be doing more. You're like, okay, I did my 3 things. I win, even if the rest is messy. And I feel like we need to normalize having messy areas of your life. You can be building a business and your laundry basket can be overflowing. You can be training for something and your emails can sit for a day. That doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that you're human. You've chosen your focus. So next time you feel like you're stretching yourself thin, ask yourself, is this intentional imbalance or accidental chaos? Am I choosing my rocks or am I letting everything else dictate where my energy goes? And honestly, that's my prompt for you this week. Write down your rocks, just like 3 things. Stick them on a post-it note, put them in your notes app, whatever it is. If you finish the week with those 3 things done, then it's a win. Everything else is optional. And here's where I've had to get really honest with myself. It's one thing to know your rocks, to say these 3 things matter this week, but if your nervous system is fried the whole time that you're doing them, it's not going to stick. You're either going to push through, white knuckled and crash later, or you're going to self-sabotage halfway through because your body's like, I absolutely don't like this. And that has been me plenty of times. I've had weeks where I get everything on my to-do list done, technically, like client content done, work, like my workouts, I've eaten amazing every day, recorded things, got new clients, posted everywhere, but done it all, seen my friends, whatever it is. But by the Friday, I felt like I was exhausted. When I'm tired, I just cry over stupid things. I feel like resentful of my own life that I'm building, which is wild because these are the things that I actually care about. But that's what happens when you chase the rocks, but you abandon the main things that matter, which I'll refer to as anchors. So let's talk about these anchors. Those are the things that you hold on to in a full season. Your anchors or your non-negotiables, that might be easier. They're what keep you steady when you're trying to carry a load. They don't make the load disappear, but they give you handles so you can hold it. And mine are simple, but they've changed everything and they're non-negotiables now. My first one is moving my body daily. I don't mean has to be extreme. I'm not in the gym for 5 hours every day. I just move my body every day. It's always a walk or a swim. Sometimes it's weights, sometimes it's Pilates, but every single day I move, even if it's just a morning walk. That's like 100% non-negotiable. That's like my mental health walk. If it clears my head, it makes me feel like a real human instead of a brain stuck behind a computer screen all day. I notice the difference immediately. If I skip moving my body, or if I just wake up and go straight into work, I'm distracted all day, I'm really reactive, I'm more likely to spiral if something happens or if an email stresses me. But if I've moved my body in the morning, I can hold everything so much better. It's like my body's had proof that I'm safe, I'm grounded, so the day doesn't just knock me sideways. And honestly, movement is a big part of why I can even work for myself, because if I didn't have that outlet, I would probably just sit there all day scrolling, overthinking, anxious, making everything harder than it is. So movement is my non-negotiable every single day. Second is eating whole food. This sounds so boring, but I swear it is magic, and it's something that I've just discovered mainly over the last few months properly. But I used to eat so much processed food without even realising it. I would think that I was so healthy until I actually started looking into these ingredients. But even if I was just picking things up because I was busy and trying to be quick, I didn't realise how much those ingredients or things were affecting me until I cut it out. Now if I eat processed foods for a few days in a row, I notice straight away, like, I feel so sluggish, anxious, my skin breaks out, my brain feels foggy, have no energy. And the thing is, when you're in a growth season, when you're carrying a full load, like, you can't afford to be running at 50% energy because you're living off beige snacks. And that's when you start thinking maybe you can't do it or you can't handle it because you're just tired. Your body probably just screaming for, like, nutrients. I'm obviously not perfect and there's a lot of work to do, but when I stick to actual full meals with vegetables and proteins and stuff that's not out of a packet, or like something is not fast food, then I feel way more calm and better, and it's just such a simple shift, but it changes how I show up. The third one is my phone. When I work, I need to have my phone in a different room. This has been a game changer because I know myself. If my phone is next to me, I will check it. It doesn't matter how motivated I feel. If my phone's next to me, I'm going to pick it up. It's just a habit, and then I'll end up scrolling or getting distracted. I'll lose half an hour, and then I feel like shit after, and I realize that the tiredness at the end of the day isn't from like work, it's like starting and stopping, distracted, and that's what fries my nervous system. Like having 100 half-finished tasks instead of 3 things that are just done deeply. So I try and leave my phone in another room. I finish the day calmer, and I've actually moved the needle. I can go to bed proud instead of feeling overstimulated, and then I want to do it again the next day. It's such a small thing, but it's what makes me actually feel in control of my time instead of letting my dopamine run the show. So those 3 anchors, my movement, my eating, my phone, they're not revolutionary at all, but they're the difference between me being able to carry a full plate versus me being burnt out midweek. And here's the reframe that I want you to sit with. You don't have to choose between being disciplined and being kind to yourself. You can be both. For the longest time, I thought that ambition had to hurt. If I wasn't tired and strung out, and then I wasn't serious enough, I wasn't working hard enough, I used to equate being drained with being dedicated, and that's just not true. That's survival mode. That is just trying to prove something and not actually building something sustainable. Like regulated hustle, regulated work is actually what creates results, because when your body feels safe, you stop wasting energy fighting yourself, you're not spiraling, you're not procrastinating, you're not numbing out halfway through the day, you're just calmly doing the work, and it stacks, it compounds, and that is how momentum is built. So if you're in a growth season right now, if you've got your rocks clear and you're ready to focus, don't abandon yourself, don't drop your anchors, because that's the difference between a season that builds you and a season that breaks you. So something that I've had to learn, and honestly I wish I'd learned it sooner, is that you can't say yes to everything and expect to still have energy for the things that matter. For the longest time, I was that person. I'd say yes to every invite, every favour, you just do this message. And on the surface, it looked like I was being a good friend, being reliable, but at the end of the week, I was resentful, I was drained, and behind on the things that actually matter to me. So here's the thing that people get wrong about boundaries. They're not about cutting people out or being a shit friend. They're about making sure that you actually have the energy to show up when it matters, because what's the point in being everywhere for everyone if you're half-arsing it, glued to your phone or your head somewhere else? That's not presence, that's just ticking a box and saying that you showed up. I had to get real with myself. I kept saying yes to random plans, pointless small talk, last minute favors. How can I also expect to have the energy to sit with my husband when he actually needs me, or my best friend, or show up for my family, or even show up for myself? You can't, like, you're spread too thin. So now my approach is simple. I don't make excuses. I just say no when I need to. If something's genuinely important, if someone I love actually needs me, I'll be there, no hesitation. But if it's just another thing that's pulling me out of my flow for no reason, then it's a no, and I don't feel guilty about that anymore. Because here's the truth, the old me thought that saying no meant I was letting people down, but saying yes to everything is actually what lets people down. You're never fully present, you're tired, distracted, you're thinking about the million other things that you should be doing. People feel that. Energy is so contagious. That's worse than just being upfront and saying, I can't this week. Part of this as well is respecting other people's boundaries. Like, I'm not the kind of friend who has a big expectation of people. If you cancel on me last minute because you've had a shit day, cool. If you need space, fine. I don't take that personally, because I'd rather that you honour where you're at than show up drained and not really want to be there. And I think that when you stop expecting constant access from other people, it becomes easier to give yourself the same permission too. So if you're in a growth season right now, here's your reminder. Stop giving your energy away by default. Boundaries do not make you cold, they make you more present. They protect your ability to show up when it really counts, because you can't be everything to everyone and still have enough left for what actually matters. One of the biggest ways that I've sabotaged myself in the past is by trying to be in 2 seasons at once. I'll say, this is my growth season, I'm building momentum, I'm serious, but then I'll also expect myself to rest and have softness and ease at the same time. And those 2 things just don't mix. It's like trying to be on holiday and do an exam at the same time. You just end up frustrated and you end up resentful of the thing that you need to work hard on. And I think back to last year when I was planning my wedding, and honestly my whole season was just fun. the whole time. Full transparency, with my wedding year, I treated it like it was my personality. Social events, trips, weekends out, family stuff, cocktails, whatever. It was all about fun, and probably too much fun most of the time. And I definitely paid the price for it later, but my business slowed down, my routine slipped, my focus was nowhere to be found. But at the time, I didn't feel guilty about it because I knew what season I was in. I knew I wasn't pretending that I was building anything. I wasn't lying to myself that I could go out every weekend and still expect massive results. I let myself have that season for what it was. The problem isn't rest seasons and the problem isn't fun seasons. The problem is when you try to do both at the same time. You're in a growth season, but you're also trying to keep up the social life of your wedding year, or you're in a rest season but you're annoyed at yourself for not hitting business milestones. That's what kills momentum. Mixing seasons, giving yourself two different sets of expectations that cancel each other out. Now I try and think of it like this. Every 8 weeks or so I choose my primary season. I don't even do it consciously, but I just kind of know. And I give myself permission to lean into it fully, and then I choose one supportive intention alongside of it so I don't slip into extremes. I don't want to be sitting doing nothing for God knows how long. That's not going to serve me. But for me right now, my primary season is build the business, okay? That's the lens that I'm making decisions through. But my supportive intention for that is keep my nervous system calm, which means that I'm not trying to live like a monk. I'm not burning out, but I'm also not letting fun Jodie take over like she did last year. I still walk every morning. I'm eating my whole foods, whatever. Those things keep me steady when I focus on building, and I really try and focus on my mind and how I feel so I can support that build. And it works both ways. If you're in a rest season, your supportive intention might be like, let's stay consistent with one or two things so I don't lose my baseline. So you can still do your habits that are non-negotiable. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to make sense for the moment that you're in. And the thing is, the fastest way to stall is by mixing seasons. If you're half in growth, half in rest, half in build, half in fun, you dilute your energy and then you wonder why nothing's moving, and you feel like you're putting effort in but you're not seeing results. And it's not because you're doing it wrong, it's because you're sending yourself two different signals at once. Honestly, I feel like that's where like a lot of guilt comes from. We tell ourselves we should be building, but then we also tell ourselves we should be relaxing, and then no matter what we choose, we feel like we're failing. But when you're honest about the season that you're in, the guilt goes. Like last year, I knew that was my fun season. Did I feel bad about my business slowing down? No. Did I pay for it later? Absolutely. But I owned that season for what it was. So if you're listening to this, I want you to actually get specific. Ask yourself, what is my primary season for the next 8 weeks? And then what's one supportive intention that will help me hold it steady? Write it down, because when you get clear on that, it makes it easier not to mix the seasons, okay? Maybe your primary season right now is your health, and your supportive intention is keep your work or your business, just keep ticking over so it maintains. Maybe you don't need to build it, but it doesn't need to fall away. Maybe you want to have a social life, but you want to also keep up like whatever intention that you have. It's just about being clear. But when you stop mixing the seasons, everything feels like cleaner. Like your yeses and nos make more sense, your habits make sense, you're not stretched between two versions of yourself, you're just in one season, fully in it, and that's where the growth happens. So yes, stop mixing seasons, pick one to lead, pick one to support, own it for what it is, even if it's messy, even if it's fun focused and your business dips for a while. If that's the season that you're in, then let that be without the guilt, and when it's time to shift into the next season, you'll feel it. Okay, let's get on to my favourite part of the episode, which is shit that I learned this week. Normally I'd give you like a few little things here, but this week I've just got one, and honestly, it's the most important one, and it's momentum. So here's what happened, okay? Saturday, I really couldn't be bothered doing anything. My house felt like chaos, and I kept saying to myself, I need to get my ensuite cleaned, and I was putting it off and putting it off, and eventually I thought, right, just go in and spray the surfaces, that's it, spray, wipe, done. But then before I knew it, I had my shower doors fully off, I was scrubbing the tiles, I'd done the floors, and then I was on the skirting boards, and then I went into the next bathroom, and then suddenly the whole house was getting clean. And it all started because I did that one thing that I've been avoiding. That is momentum. You start with one small action and it snowballs, and it's the exact same in life and in business. You don't have to feel motivated. You don't have to overhaul your whole routine in one go. You just have to start. So record the podcast, write the post, go for one walk, and then watch how quickly it stacks. The flip side is that when you stop, it all feels like heavy again. It's hard to get back on track. I've had weeks where I've lost momentum and suddenly the smallest thing like replying to an email or making dinner feels like a mountain. And it's not that you can't do it, because obviously you can, it's that you've lost that rhythm. So yeah, one thing this week, and it's really important, momentum. So if you're stuck, don't overcomplicate it, don't wait for the motivation, there's never a right time. Just pick one small thing, get moving, let it snowball, and yeah, that's it. Momentum, guys, it's key. So before we finish today's episode, here's your little nudge for this week. Write down your 3 rocks, just 3. Declare your season in your notes app. So you've got it staring back at you when you forget. Keep it simple, keep it real, whatever. And then do something this week that your future self will thank you for. Even if it's tiny, even if it's behind the scenes, even if no one sees it but you, because your goals are already in motion, you're not waiting for them, you are achieving them, and every choice that you make now is just proof of who you're becoming. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review or a comment or share or something to help more people discover it. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you more than you know, and I will see you next week. Love you. Bye. Bye.